Did everybody drop your quiz answers in that box? Did you like them? Are they okay?
Yeah.
So easy, right? Okay. Our next presenter, we have Ibn John, who's going to talk about continuous delivery for fast and continuous value. Where is he? Hi, welcome.
Thank you. Okay, I'm delighted to see a full house. So thanks for coming. My name is Ibn. So little introduction about myself. Come in this area, working as an Agile coach in Society General. It's an investment bank. I kind of co-founded an Agile Center in Society General. So we have around 9 coaches at the moment. And we are planning to grow. We are trying to transform the organization into continuous delivery. And I am trying to present you about what I have learned in last 3-4 years when I started interacting with a lot more people to understand how can we improve the agility of the organization. Yeah, and we can catch up outside so to get to know more about it because we have only half an hour. Yeah. Okay. So earlier, when I started my career as an Agile coach, I was a product owner, I was a Scrum Master, I was a developer, and when I started getting into coaching, I thought I know everything about Agile. So let's go and fix problem with the team, and what would be the outcome? Yeah, very close. Yeah. So when I started working with a lot of people who are kind of, I call them genius in the area of working with people, coaching them, etc. I realized that I'm not, if people call me an Agile coach, probably I'm not doing justice to that word Agile coach, right? Because I need to learn a lot of things about coaching. So now my hobby is to understand more about what coaching is all about, what is facilitation, and how to work with people, how to enable, and as our speakers were talking about how to make contracts. I've done some sessions on PA also. I've attended some sessions on PA also. So yeah, let's explore more. Ravi just gave me this pointer, so I'm just learning how to use it. So the expectations, I'll tell you what I would like to share today, and if you have some other expectations, let's create a contract so that you won't get disappointed at the end of the half an hour, right? So I'm talking about continuous delivery. As you know, I can't explain the entire crux of continuous delivery in half an hour. So I'm going to give you a very high level view about what I understand about continuous delivery and why we in our organization we are trying to look at continuous delivery, and agility is independent of continuous delivery. So I actually want to generate some curiosity in you so that we can work together to build more agile organizations. Is that all right? Mm-hmm. Any other expectations? Okay, thanks. So I'm going to follow the Simon Sinek model, why, how, what. So let's look at value stream mapping. So anybody who doesn't know about value stream mapping? Yeah. So we try to visualize the way things flows in any kind of a situation where, for example, if you take a project, how the information is flowing from the user till it gets deployed. You're collecting the requirement, you have different phases. So we try to visualize how much time each process, each block is going to take. So getting a request from the customer and getting the approval, refining it, sign off, analysis. We are familiar with these kind of cycles, right? How many of you don't do agile here? Anybody? Okay. Yeah? Okay. That's very nice of you. So you have these different blocks which will be streamed if you do different practices like Scrum or Kanban, etc. But if you try to visualize the value stream mapping, it looks like this. So what we try to do is we try to understand what is the actual effort required to complete that piece of work, that piece of activity, and what is the time delay in the in the transition. So what we identified, this typically one example which I pulled out from Google. So the efficiency of the system is 12%. The actual effort required to complete this task is 267 hours versus 2,206 hours as the lead time. Today Bhavin spoke about cycle time. So this is the concept of lead time. So since from the beginning you got the requirement when it got out. When I saw the efficiency 12%, I actually did little more googling about efficiency, and I heard, or rather I learned, that any organization which is having 5 to 10 efficiency is normal. So this is actually kind of an efficient situation.
Super efficient.
Yeah. Okay, that's a thought for us. So normally when we talk about today we spoke about how to do self-organization with respect to the team, and we have seen how to do the estimation. So we speak about the team, right? So we speak about the development team, or we did speak about different Scrum teams working together. But there are a lot of things which is coming out, who is actually contributing to the delivery, right? So when we talk about value, I think value is also coming up very soon. You're talking about values?
Yep.
Yeah. So you will know much more about values, but say there is user one side asking for some, sharing some problem with you, and the user is looking for a solution. So the moment he hand it over to somebody, the different organizations have different names, different people taking the request, or different ways of processing it. This is typically the way my organization works. It's an investment bank. We have a lot of BAs. I have, even when I joined the company, I was surprised that there are 4 BAs and 1 developer. Yeah. Okay. So that's the way things are. They are very. When I asked them questions about why we need such things, they said it's very complex. Somebody was talking about customer will come with a simple problem, right? I think Bhavin was talking about it. Customer comes with a simple problem, and you need to find solutions. Whenever you go to a team and ask about their project, they say, this is not your usual project, it's very complex, right? So we see that kind of, each project is kind of very complex. So when we look at different transition level, when earlier when I started as an agile coach, I was actually focusing on this area, where we talk about so-called the team. We try to sub-optimize. We'll ask them do something different. You do iterative model. You do something different, like you do retrospection. You do planning meeting. We try to optimize them so much that they started creating, in the right way. Probably if you are a very good coach, if you can convince them very effectively, and if you could create self-organization, they are going to create more things. Yeah. But what happens is, when we talk about value, the product has to reach the customer. Then that's the time when you realize the value. Yeah. So what happens in our organization? The team is now more productive. They are more agile. They do Scrum. They do Kanban. They do Scrumban. So they create the product and then put it here. Probably the product owner validates, and then that's it. It lies there. So it lies there for 3-4 iterations, and they have a fixed cycle for release. And that time they take up and do some UAT, and there is some production team, there is some other team. They put it, because they only have authority to put it in some special servers, pre-production servers, production servers. Yes, then it blows. Then says, no, in the production system it's not working that way. It comes back. How many of you have seen issues where everything works perfectly in the development server and which is not working in production?
Otherwise they are late.
So it's not a news for us. So the idea is, when we look at the system as a whole, we are not seeing the value flowing from the user to the user. So how can we maximize the value? That is the main question. That was the main need which we had to actually look into continuous delivery. Right? Anybody read the book? Continuous delivery? Yes, some book?
Yeah.
Wow. Yes, and even in this year 2013, Agile India 2014, we had Jess here in Bangalore, who actually coached a lot of people. Okay, so when we talk about defining continuous delivery in very simple words, it's about building software that is in production ready at all time with frequent low risk releases. You create the product which is ready, release ready anytime with good quality. This leads to lot of other advantages like faster time to market, reduce risk, get the quality, and faster feedback. I think I used to talk about this even if when I go to teams and talk about adopting the Scrum. Earlier, that time I was focused only on the sub-optimizing the team. Now we are talking about the entire project or the product or the organization. So that's the main difference I would like to bring in here. When we talk about value, it's not about the value comes out of a team, it's the value comes out of the entire project, the entire stakeholders to the customer. Unless the customer realizes, see the product, it's not value. It's a work in progress. Right? Is this really new for us? Is it a news for you? Anybody? No, right? We all knew it. By the way, this is my daughter. We have seen this. What is this? Anybody? Principles. Our principles, right? So we are following this principle. We are all agile people. But we have seen that there are a couple of things which is directly pointing to how to deliver value, how to be consistent, why the need to create the quality within. So we also mentioned that working software is the primary measure of progress. Working software in our machine, in the development setup, is not really called as working software. It should be in the release area. It should be in the production. Then we can call it as the working software. Somehow we misinterpreted in some areas and we said that now it's out of my control, my team have just delivered it, so now it's in the out of my development area, so a development scope, so it's been done. So even Bhavin was talking about the need of creating strong definition of done. So we will look at that also. Thanks for creating that need. So we look at the principles of continuous delivery. Do you think I'm going faster? So we are talking about what we knew, right? Okay, great. The first principle is the process of releasing or deploying software must be repeatable and reliable. Any questions about this? Any confusion about this? When we talk about deploying a software, how many of you use deploy as a tool? Anybody? How many times you had problem when you want to deploy an application? You dealt with a lot of environment problems, which is not fully automated, right? So when you have such kind of manual dependencies on deploying a software, that's where you actually get into burn your fingers, because whenever you get into this deploying a application into production, you know that you normally work with very strict deadlines, very high expectations, people are waiting, etc. You can't afford to have a lot of downtimes, right? So how to make it reliable and more consistent? Second, automate everything. So this is actually leading back from principle 1, it's connected to principle 2. How can we automate? So whatever can be repeated, whatever is repeated when you do the entire cycle, entire value chain, you try to automate that. Automate everything which is repeated, if it is possible. Number 3, if something is difficult or painful, do it more often. Do you think it's absurd? It is difficult, so let's not look into it. Let's fix whatever we know already, and then let's look at this later. You know that what is the problem with this approach. We have tried that a couple of times or many times, right? So when you keep doing what is more painful, you will tend to learn more and more about it. So it becomes actually kind of handleable. Yep. Keep everything in source control. Do we do that? I heard and there are a lot of software craftsmanship. You write clean code, check into the system a couple of times in an hour, and keep everything in the source control. It's keep building, your infrastructure is going to keep building it and then deploy it in the system, etc. So you keep everything in the source control, including the requirements. So I think you're familiar with the concept BDD, behavior driven development. So the concept like feature files, which is with the requirement file, the requirement document can be executed. The living documentation concept. So I'm not getting deeper into it, but probably we can discuss about that. So you have a feature file, the requirement document which can be executed, which is in the source control system. So now your requirement is kind of aligned with your code. So if you read the book Clean Code, Robert C. Martin says the only thing which talks the truth is the code. You can't depend on any document which is telling you the exact system or exact state of the product. It's the only document which you can look at is the code. Now when you have a complete or rather, if you have a BDD system in place, if you have 100% BDD in the system, probably the feature file also can tell you the truth. Probably. We had some instances where we spoke about this concepts, and then the team member, the account manager motivated the team to create more test cases. So this team, they started bidding. It's like, they said if you can create 100 more test cases in so and so time frame, you will get a prize. Guess what? They did it.
All junk. All junk.
What they did was, they created test cases and they changed the names. It's like, test 1, test 2, test 3, test 4. The same test they repeated. And they got 100 test cases. But it did not serve the purpose, right? If they spend the same time on creating another one, probably it would have added more value. Yes? This is the part about definition of done. Done means released. When I say done, it's not that I have completed my part. I have completed my task on the board. When I say done, it means released. Released to the production setup. If you may not, we had a question also in the quiz about, what was the question? Anyone remember?
The end of the sprint.
End of the sprint, you need to release to the production?
Is it must to release to the production?
It is mandatory to release to the production. I'm not talking about the answers, but here the definition of done is released. I don't know what answer they have. Yeah?
True or false?
Yes. So when we talk about this, the responsibility belongs to everybody. Unless the system is not released, everybody is responsible. Yep. Next is about build quality within. When we talk about XP practices and talk about BDD, TDD, pair programming, we are actually kind of making sure that we are building the quality within the system. We are making sure that we have a clean code which is readable, which is kind of adhering to the soil principles maybe, and different design patterns which can be or rather if I put it like simple words, a project which you are working for 1 year, and if you want to inject a new feature into it, it takes the same time to create that feature as which you would have done it 6 months back. Over a period of time, you are not adding more burden to create the same feature into the system. That means stable system. Clear? 7. Everybody has responsibility. Responsibility. It's pretty tricky word. Anybody knows the difference between responsibility and accountability? Yeah?
Responsibility is more like you deliver it, and accountability is you make sure that you deliver it with the expected quality.
Okay.
Responsibility comes
Come again?
Responsibility comes from inside. Accountability, someone points here.
Yeah. So we are talking about something which is coming within. The team, each team member, each stakeholder in the system should feel responsible for this. That's when actually you look at things will be you consider the system is done when it's released. I'm not saying that I have developed it, so my part is done. So it's up to the production guys to deploy it in the production. I don't care. If everybody is responsible, we are not going to hear that. So I heard a beautiful definition about or differentiation between accountability and responsibility. So the story goes like this: if you don't know what you are accountable for, you have to meet you have to take the responsibility to meet your manager to know what you are accountable for. If you don't know what you are accountable for, you have to take the responsibility to meet your manager to understand what you are accountable for. Subtle difference, right? Okay. Improve continuously. That is our motive. You know, whatever we do, we know that we can improve the system better. Nothing is perfect. There was a question about how long you can go, how deeper you can go in the rabbit hole. Yeah, you can keep improving. When will I know that I am self-organized? You will find a lot of opportunity about how can I do better. You talk to people. So today when I was sitting here, I came to know how there are 3 different ways of doing contracting. We always learn and try to keep applying that and see that our team is doing better and better. Right? Okay. There are 4 practices also followed by the principles. It's about building the binaries once. You don't have to rebuild and rebuild the system for different environments. You create the binary once, keep it in a repository and keep pulling it down. And you have beautiful tools nowadays which can actually do a lot of work for you, the infrastructure areas. So how many of you heard about DevOps, the concept of DevOps? Any DevOps coach in house? Yeah? Great. Now, this is something which we are actually kind of going behind, or rather we were going behind. We wanted to improve the DevOps infrastructure in our company. So we started identifying the tools and techniques, and we started looking for people who can actually do it. But many of you, even if probably the word DevOps may be new to you, but you're probably doing it. A lot of aspects of DevOps. DevOps is about development and operations together. How can we enable more collaboration between the development and operations? How can we remove that thick wall between development and operation? We say, coding is done, take your packet. Now let's forget about what's happening. So we are trying to get them together. So they talk to each other, they sit together, they see that the system is deployed to the production setup with equal responsibility. Right? There's no face to face. We'll come back to the Agile manifesto again. Face to face interaction, respect people, collaborate more and more. We are talking about collaborating with the customer. Now we are talking about collaborating more with the stakeholders. Who are our stakeholders in a project?
Product owner.
Scrum team,
Product owner.
Scrum team,
Product owner. Customer.
Everybody who related to that delivery.
Everybody who related to a delivery. Okay. Drawing. Yes. Sales guys. Sponsor. Yeah. Of course.
Support.
Quality. Yeah. So it's a huge list, right? Everyone who cares about the product is actually a stakeholder. It can be the security team, it can be the compliance team, it can be anybody. So if he really cares about your product, that means he's actually a stakeholder. So you actually kind of need to consider the need of the stakeholders. So to do that, you have to collaborate with them. Try to understand what they really want, what is their stake in it, what are they expecting. Okay. And the main point which I would like to emphasize is, if anything fails, stop the line. You heard about this concept in Kanban? It came from Toyota. Stop the line. If you have identified a defect, stop the line and fix it, then move forward. No patching.
It's actually the Kanban concept.
Yes.
Kanban runs based on this.
Exactly. Thank you. I got a note about time. 5 minutes more. Thank you. Okay. So the underlying concept about the entire continuous delivery falls back to the deployment pipeline. So how many of you have a continuous integration system in place? Okay, quite a few. So when we talk about, or rather visualizing the deployment pipeline, when a developer does value adding work, a use case, suppose they do it in the TDD way. They write the unit test cases and they check it in the system. It goes to the version control system, whichever version control system you use, and from there the CI tool is going to pick up your your incremental code and then it build it with the entire code base. And then this will build the binaries, it will check the unit cases, it can even do a regression if you use some different tools, or it will deploy into a machine using a tool like say deploy it or different tool in DevOps. Once you have it, you can do an automated regression on top of it and check whether the system is running. So when you see different situations, you check in the code, you put in the version control system, it will trigger a unit test, and then if it is failing, you will come back here. So if you have a gated build in the system, it will revert automatically, or the system will inform the developer or the team that this check-in is actually creating some problem. So then you can make the correction, check it again, you go to the rebuilding. So here you will see that it's green, it will go to the next step. So the system is automated to take care of, or rather check the quality by itself. So you are no more worried about keep on manually getting an environment ready, install it and manually test it, etc. So all these kind of repeated overheads are kind of getting removed. So whatever can be repeated, we try to automate, and finally the system will get into the production by itself. So there are tools like Puppet which can actually get a environment which you need for the production or for the pre-production in no time. You tell them that this is what I want. The concept is called infra as code. You code the infrastructure itself. There are tools like Nexus which will take your repository and keep the version control system. There are tools like Deploy which can deploy your system the way you want, in the server you want, etc. Right? Okay, we'll move forward. Oh yeah. So I think I'm going to hit the time properly. Very good. So any questions so far?
So when you say that probably continuous delivery, now this concept many a time, we also do that continuous delivery or speed to market. But what I had seen is that probably you have a story which is of X number story point, and continuous delivery means like you shrink it and probably deliver that chunk fast. But eventually what you look at is probably you may take more time delivering the same amount of work than you do it with the actual story. But so how do you tackle those kind of situations? My question was with that.
Anybody want to help me? Because I'm not clear with the question.
There is a story. Okay, now what does the continuous delivery means in some other places? I break the story into smaller chunks and deliver in small pieces. Yes. It is not a full story delivery,
Correct.
but a smaller chunk. This actually takes more time than completing the full story at one.
Okay. So
Yeah, perfect.
I'm answering the
Because
question.
this is a typical one which I faced previous times.
Okay, thanks for rephrasing it. So, say take a typical example about what he spoke about cycle time. If you go back to the cycle time, say you have a big feature which you are kind of now what the jargon which we call is MMF, minimum marketable feature. You have a big epic, you cut it down into different minimum marketable feature, then you give an option to the customer. You choose which one you want first. So if you know the cycle time for delivering an item which is of some quantity, if you can estimate, use some quantity, and which is going to be 1 day or 2 days. So the customer is going to get that minimum marketable feature in every 2 days. So the highlight here is, you want to add something?
Yeah, I just wanted to add here. So basically what happens is in those cases, what do you want to optimize? That is more important, right? So if you want to optimize, see the thing is that you're creating a batch of stories, right? And if you put it together, probably you'll be doing your cost optimization, right? But then you have this increased WIP, right? Work in progress. So you have too many stories which are like kind of in a pending state, right? So then your optimization towards your customer in terms of what you are delivering, the delivery optimization is one. Right? So again, it depends on what you want to optimize. I mean, it's not like always a black and white answer. Sometimes you do want to batch stories because they are all related, and sometimes you want to actually break it in such a way that it's optimized for customers' use.
Now we talk about collaboration. We talk about the collaboration with the customer, how they want to take it. Maybe now there may be a case where you have a lot of dependencies, but it doesn't make sense to deliver this small piece of value. But when we look at the objective is to maximize the value of the customer. So as long as you have 5 things progress here, it's not a value for the customer. So it can also depend on the business case of your customer, what they really want. Right? If you want to have more discussion, we can probably take it offline. Yeah? Okay, great. So my question is, are we really doing agile without continuous delivery?
Possible or not possible?
Both of them.
Yeah.
Also, agile that you put there, yes, we are doing.
You're doing agile, yeah.
Yes. In the capital A, if you put, yes, we are doing.
Okay. So that is the question which I have, which I am curious about. I was teaching or rather training people, telling that you are doing agile if you do Scrum, if you do standard meeting, if you do you answer 3 things in the standard meeting and you do Scrum, retrospection, grooming, 2 plannings and demo, done. You are doing agile. It's not, probably you are doing a framework called Scrum, but when you become agile is when you be agile, the way you deliver the value to the customer. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, please.
So, as you guys are spending time on evaluating this continuous delivery tool, do you have any suggestions, or do you think which continuous delivery tool, at least which fit in your organization, or at least you guys are using it?
Yes. So,
could we park that question? We'll take it sometime later.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Fine.
Yeah. Can you write it down in a sticky and I'll paste it there? Make sure.
Or you can catch me. I am here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions? We'll paste them there. But I promise you we'll take it out.
So he's asking me to get out. Thanks, guys. Thank you very much.
What about continuous deployment and continuous delivery? Are they 2 different things, or are they same?
You should park the question.